All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Multiverse. So, pretty excited here about what's going on. This is the first time I've tried anything like what I'm doing here, and that is to say, let me go ahead and bring back the uh, resources here just to give you an idea of what's going on here. I'll put them away in just a minute. So, I'm loving this. What I'm doing is I'm just building up pretty much every province uh, to maximum efficiency, starting with the oil here. So you'll notice I have a level 4 factory. I'm going ahead and building railways now. I concentrated on the oil because, as I mentioned, I am going to be an air power. I'm going to be someone who sort of concentrates on having a strong air force. And so to that effect, you can see bomber. In fact, we can come over here to the province administration tab and just kind of see. I think you can select by production. There we go. So you can see just lots of bombers, folks. And I'm also having fun building some Navy. I've got some Navy on the sea now. And the point being, lots of fighters as well. Fighters are important. I mean, just look at that. Just when you're in lots of Navy as well. When you've got this much industry, I don't have a lot of territories, but I'm cranking out the industry. You can see I'm just straight blue across the top here. And I'm not building any infantry at all. So from time to time, I sell off a bunch of wheat or a bunch of fish, whatever's paying well, and go ahead and buy oil and other materials for my Air Force. So having a lot of fun with this, to be perfectly honest with you. And eventually, I'm kind of envisioning this land where every single territory, except for I don't really need the materials that much. You can see if I dialed these equally, I'm trying to build up my my wood to get a few more harbors. But if I dialed these equally, they would be around 2,500 each, which is quite a bit. That's plenty of those building materials. There's not a big reason to build those factories if you don't want that production bonus. There is, of course, a morale bonus associated with that. And then you can see, for instance, this one, I do have a bump downwards because I am at war with 3 countries right now, which is sort of the other component of what I'm doing is I'm bouncing around helping my allies with their wars. So right now I'm engaged in 2 different conflicts, one in Southern Africa, or sort of central Southern Africa, and one in South America. So let's zoom back here. Oh, did I? No, okay. It's just when you're close, you can see those units. That's weird. Like, what's the point of getting rid of display units? I guess you can't see it from this elevation, but when you can see so many others. So another big thing that you might notice here is Burgundy, the power of us, is gone. He's no longer here. What happened was the Pope sent him on a holy crusade down to the Middle East. And so you'll notice that the power of us is down here. He has been newly installed and blessed by the papal seat to conquer and attack down here. You can see I came down and attacked over in this region, kind of stood guard for a while. But this is a massive relocation. I've not seen anything like this happen in a game up until now. So you can see I also had some infantry here that I currently have. You can't see that they're mine, but they're mine. I can't currently have them kind of moving over to help with this skirmish over here. But what happened to Power of Us early on was he got knocked back and then he got surrounded by his allies. So he was over here. You can almost kind of see the outline of his territory because he built railways everywhere, which is really helpful to me now. But so you can see he was just surrounded by Popcat and I. And then, of course, I'm now surrounded by Zinzin and Popcat, and on my right over here, Farkas, Poland. But I think I've found a workaround for that. I'm really enjoying, and I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm just going to keep on building every territory because why not? The one limitation, of course, is railways, but that limitation is really just, how much coal do I have? And so, frankly, I come down here, I've got a lot of leeway here with all this oil that I'm churning out, so I can dial that coal up as I build more and more railways. So I don't know. It's fun. I'm really enjoying this. I do have to be strategic again because, I'm not hurting for wheat and fish. There's not a huge reason to to bump something like this single wheat up. You can see I don't really have much there at all. I'm not building any infantry at all, because infantry, of course, as they move far away, they lose morale, and of course I don't want to capture any territory, because then again I'd have that same morale problem. One thing I am doing is I'm moving my capital over to just a little bit over. Where are you, buddy? Here we go. Moving that capital over just a little bit to lighten the load on the morale down here. And what I do have going on here is I do have a bunch of little coastal tiles, 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and I'm building Navy units out of there. I do have 3 islands, which I'm also building up. So I have 7 coastal tiles that I can build out of, and I have been building Navy. And then I'm going to go ahead and go after this. I better pay attention to this, actually. This is me, and he's coming after me to try to do this without, see, how long does he have? 2 hours. Just that's painful. I guess I need to, let's just bump this over here real quick so we can see. Okay, at 94. 94, folks. Wow. Christopher Walken. Wow. But let's you know what? I'm gonna put a pin in this, because if he's leaving with all of his stuff, that's great. I'll just have him chase me around for a while in the water. That leaves his homeland pretty exposed. And then what I did do is I've got a bunch of infantry that I used to capture Power of Us's stuff. When he gave over his stuff, I had to cover his land and stand on it for a day until the morale got manageable. So I've got about, I don't know, 60 or 70 infantry. I'm not going to go ahead and go up there because I don't want to show the disposition of all of my allies, troops, and whatnot. So, whoa, what's going on here, buddy? What's happening? Display none. Yep. But it's still displaying. Interesting. Select enemy troops. I don't know why. I don't know why, folks. I don't know why. But it doesn't matter, because those are enemy troops, not my concern. Okay. The news over here continues. China is a expert player. He keeps pushing west. And at some point, there's going to be contact between us and him. And what we're hoping is that we can finish up in Africa. Now, what does that look like? It can mean a lot of things. It can mean alliances and or ceasefires and or non-aggression treaties over here. But certainly, we've got to have that figured out by the time we have to confront or deal with China. So he's being pretty relentless in his push west. Who is this up here? This is Datong, who is Bob 182, who is not. Oh, he's still in the game. Okay. So China is probably working with Bob, probably working up here with Alpha Wolf. Not certain of that, and almost certainly working with this powder keg down here, this naval superpower down here coming out of Australia. So very interesting stuff going on here. They're not getting into coalitions together, but that's actually that can be a wise thing to do. Stay out of coalitions. This guy's in G3, so officially he's with this fellow over here. Yep, G3. This fellow over here, G3, and not this guy. Okay, so Wellington right here looks like he is surrounded. So I imagine his best sort of policy at this point would be to play nice. But as far as these G3 guys, I'm not so sure if things are going to go, gently into the night, as it were. Not sure what's going on here in South America. It does look like, it does look like West Ecuador here, who was causing a splash earlier with ST Master, and it has been accused of spamming. And by the way, people sent me DMs from him, in-game DMs, of him bragging about how he has a corporate job and how he's spending lots of money, and that's their problem, not his, and so forth. So he's going to be a big problem as well. But I'll tell you what, a coalition that's large enough and well organized enough can resist that kind of spamming. And, if nothing else, we can get satisfaction in making him spend $1,000 or something on a stupid game. So we'll see what happens with that as well. Anyway, I'm I'm just super stoked. Let me see if I can go ahead and go over to here. And what I'm going to do is just bring up the bomber and the fighter so you can see those. So from up here, you can see I'm engaged in this theater down here. I'm not attacking anybody right now because there was a ceasefire called on one particular front. And then I have most of my stuff going on over here. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on that. Whoops, come back. Let's go ahead and display none again. Let's come down here and get a closer, fun look at what's happening here. Oh, you know what? I better not, because when I get closer, you'll see what's over here. It kind of sucks that you say don't display, and then you get close enough and you can actually see troops down there. You can't see how many, so that's nice. But you still see the disposition of troops. So I'm not going to go closer. But what I will say is that this is Benaiah here, Aquitaine, over here. And Aquitaine is coming down. And he really, you can see here, he really has no choice but to expand southwest. We have a treaty with North America, just a non-aggression treaty with North America. And so he really, there's just nothing else to do. Zinzin still has some potential options in Africa. Although if I'm right, and he's got a ceasefire here with Wellington, then he too might need to expand into South America. I don't know. Again, my leadership style has been sort of like Nordic chieftain style. It's the style I'm most comfortable with, which is to say, everyone has their own autonomy. Every nation that is part of our coalition is sovereign, and I think particularly in this game, that's the way it's got to be, because we're all here voluntarily. This isn't the kind of environment where bossing everybody around is going to go down well. But it also, what I think too is sort of this, I'm fascinated by the idea of how systems organize from chaos into order. So for instance, a great example of that is when you see a murmuration of magpies or different birds. And what a murmuration is if you've ever seen just like a flock of these birds, and they flow in just these amazing patterns. It looks like you're looking at some kind of energy pattern or something. Look up murmuration. Is it sparrows? Murmuration of sparrows? Just look up murmuration and go to a video and look at it. It's just freaking amazing. But the idea is that each of those different birds is acting autonomously with some basic instructions. So those basic instructions might be stay a certain distance away from the birds around you because you can't collide with them, because that doesn't work if you're flying, right? You'll also see the same effect with schools of fish. You'll see schools of fish acting as though they're moving as a single organism. It's just fascinating to watch. But again, each individual fish is autonomous, and each individual fish is acting for their own best interest according to certain basic instructions, and yet they come together into this sort of amazing symphony of motion. So I like that with my captains as well, because, and it worked amazingly well for the Vikings. If you want to swarm into an area, if you want to really dominate an area, then you give your chieftains autonomy, all within sort of a framework of what the general structure of the attack is going to be. Now, certainly there were times when the Vikings had to execute very complex plans, and they did, because if they all know, okay, then this group, this clan has to go over here, and you've got this specific job to take out this watchtower and whatever. But at the end of the day, it was still pretty much up to each chieftain to execute that plan. And I think what it did was it really kind of delegated things outward really nicely. So for instance, Poland, nobody knows better what's going on in that part of the world than Farkas. So I'm not going to come over here and say, I really think you should attack into Arzmas or whatever, that's not how that's pronounced. I almost can guarantee you. But no one knows his region of the world better than him. We've been at this now for 52 days, right? So almost 2 months. And so, again, though, what that does mean is that it allows us to sort of have autonomy, but also very close partnerships moving forward. So what I'm really loving this, having people call me to have airstrikes, calling in airstrikes. And it's like, yeah, tell me where to bomb. Tell me what to bomb because it's fun. I'm really loving it. So right now I'm active in 2 theaters, and as you saw, I'm just continuing to churn out the bombers and fighters. And so we're not nearly to where we're going to be. You know, we're on day 50 something. This game's going to go to day 100 or past. So I'm just really like rubbing my hands together like a greedy, character in a cartoon or something, just thinking about the stacks of bombers and the stacks of fighters that I'm going to be throwing around. It's pretty exciting. I also know that there are some really big navies on the board here. I'm not gonna call out who specifically has them, but I know there are dozens of battleships under one flag, and several countries have that. So it's going to get nasty, folks. And I think what I might do, because I don't want to deprive you guys of these epic battles that are going to go down. So I think what's going to happen is once a huge battle starts, I'm going to go ahead and reveal it, because the fact is, usually once a huge battle starts, everybody engaged knows who's in the battle. You can see the stack, for instance, of 3,000 infantry and 100 artillery coming at you. So once all is revealed already, then I can actually cast in real time these epic sort of battles. A lot of people have gone over to another 100 game. Maybe they're drawn to the fact that I put, not another 100, the 500 nation army. What am I talking about? Is it the 500 nation army or is it the 100 nation army? I think it's 500. Yeah. Anyway, I put the white stripes on the cover of that, so I think maybe people are drawn to that. I don't know, but it's fun because you're seeing these huge stacks move around, and frankly, I think we're going to see bigger stacks in this game. So we'll see. At one point I was a little bit worried because a lot of people over here were rage quitting the game, but I think China is going to save the competitive nature of this game, especially if he's working with Bob over here, Alpha Wolf, and Australia. That is a challenge. And also, everyone hates us. So there is that too. Honestly, that's the way it goes. In every game I've been in, when there's one coalition that's dominating the game, everyone else is like, sending messages to each other. Hey, we got to team up against so-and-so. So that's a challenge too. That's something that's gonna be, something that we will have to overcome. So I'm loving it, loving what's happening. Kind of looking forward to things moving forward. It looks like, to me anyway, it looks like the guys we have in this coalition are here to stay. These are all guys that I've worked with in previous games, with a couple exceptions, but yeah, not really. Benaya, we've been in a few games together. Zinzin, Popcat, Papa Smitty's one of us for sure. Farkas is kind of new, but I hope he sticks around, comes over to our Discord and hangs out with us, because he's definitely in it for the long haul as well. And then of course, Power of Us, it's going to be a struggle for Power of Us because he's in a new location. He doesn't have a lot of material. He's got some though, and he's building up more. But I would say, if he's watching, because right now it's late at night for me, so it's early in the morning for him down there in Australia. So he actually lives in Australia, by the way. I'm not talking about the player who plays Australia in this game. This guy actually lives in Australia. I do know he's just getting back from a trip to India, so he's probably exhausted, and catching up. But anyway, when he comes back fully online, he needs to repair all this crap. And I will say this to you too, General Power, if you need resources, let us know, because I've got resources, my friend. I've got plenty of steel. I could have more other stuff, but I'm spending everything as much as I can. I'm of that philosophy that you should spend everything you have. If you got stuff in the bank, it's just wasted, right? But I'm generating a lot of wood, generating a lot of wood. And I could be generating more steel as well. But anyway, Power, reach out to us, man, because you need to fix those buildings. One of the things that the Pope did, that Papa Smitty did, was when he took these territories, he took them with tanks and infantry. He didn't take them with artillery. And I asked him, hey, you want some bomber support? And he said, no, I don't want to bomb out these buildings. I want to keep them. So I know there are still factories there. There are still railways. They need to be repaired. So Power, I'm talking to you, my friend. Repair that stuff up. And if you need materials, please reach out to us in the Discord chat, and we'll send it to you right away. We want to get you built back up and expanded, really, because you can expand here quite a bit. Down into here, I really kind of screwed this AI over. I first attacked in and destroyed a lot of stuff, and then came and took his capital, and now I'm just sitting on his capital here with also a pretty decent stack here. He's not going to take that back anytime soon, really with the intent of just grossly weakening this adjacent power. So eventually, when General Power gets his feet back under him, hopefully he can attack down into here, expand down into here, take this back. By the way, these two are the same country. And once he expands to that size, there's really nothing stopping him from expanding the rest of the way out to here, and kind of being ready for that for China coming up. Once China does get over to here, that's going to be ringing some alarm bells for the rest of us, and we're going to start sending material in that direction as well, I can imagine. That's just the way it goes. So, fun game. A lot still going on, even this late in the game, almost 2 months in now, and we are still going at it. Just to let you know, the first subscriber game is still going. We're having some issues. That's where we're Australia. We're having some issues attacking into North America. It's so far away from our homelands, which we moved our capitals from Australia into Asia. And so it's continuously this morale problem, but we're rampaging around in North America in that game. The second subscriber game is also still going, where we are Africa. We're Africa in a sort of a loose alliance with Europe, and Europe kind of fell down a little bit and then regathered themselves and reformed into an even more powerful thing. So we're moving forward in the second game as well. But I will say this, the first game is winding down. I'm going to probably come with updates from the first and second game. But after a while, once those wind down, then it's going to be time to open up a new subscriber game. So that's going to be coming soon. Again, I'm asking for any recommendations for what that might look like. In the next video here in the Multiverse, let's talk about that. But this video is running a little bit long, so I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. But let's talk about that. What would be a great idea, a fun thing to do for the next subscriber game? We've got a couple ideas already, but I'd love to hear more. So, all right, that's it, guys. I'm out of here. Thanks for checking in. We'll see you next time. Adios, amigos.